Hello, guys. This is going to be part one in a series that I would like to call a list of ideas that I feel would greatly benefit the Federal Reserve were they to implement. So, briefly, I would like to state that currently um, they are only in the business, as far as money creation is concerned, of working with paper money, bills, and coins. They're not mints per se, but they are those who issue these bonds to the federal government, or these loans rather, that that we the people must pay back through our taxes to the government that they will then give back to the Federal Reserve. And this accounts for, I've heard in the United States, the Federal Reserve is our central bank, the bank for the banks. And I've heard that here it's 3%. 3% of the money is this physical type of money, um, not including gold, and that's not included in these approximations of the total amount of money in circulation. But it's about 3% is that, and then they say the rest is digitized money. And digitized money is in reference to things like credit cards and online banking and like a POS um, register, you know, stuff like that. Like when you check your money at the ATM, um, but not the bills you take out of it. Well, I don't know what amount is crypto. Um, well, no, it's not included at all. I don't think in those approximations. But I don't know. I don't know how much money there is in crypto. But I think that it would be advantageous if the Federal Reserve took it upon itself to be the proponents of using cryptocurrency as as their loans. Is that they issue it as pieces of the blockchain rather than money, so that we can. I mean, we can still have paper money. It's fine, and it does create jobs. As far as mints are concerned, and yeah, there's benefits to still having it. I mean, people feel. I mean, it gives people a way to keep their own money, but so does crypto. Is the thing is that it's really the whole point is that it's actually I think a lot of people think of it because it's newer. It's like more technology like than digitized. It's more removed, I guess. But the whole idea is that it's decentralized. So it takes the need for a bank out, and it's sort of you know it, it's like the equivalent of people, like if people could create their own money. Now the problem with that obviously is then everyone would create unlimited money for themselves, but you can't just create unlimited Bitcoin for yourself, or some other currency, cryptocurrency for yourself, because you would need so many graphics cards to mine all of it, and there's so many other people mining that you just wouldn't be able to do it all on your own. And there's a limited amount. I'm rather tired. Um, but, you know, I don't think anytime soon we're going to be in a place where loans aren't a thing. I think that when there's money, there's loans, um, pretty much. So, uh, it would be a step in the right direction. I think everyone would benefit if they started to use crypto instead of paper money. And I think that if people had a little bit more education on it and realized that there's actually no banks involved, once it's given. The only issue with that is how would the Federal Reserve get the Bitcoin to send out? I mean, and it couldn't create its own because that would defeat the whole purpose. But maybe if there was some way that perhaps people could start paying their taxes in crypto, and then uh, the federal government could give coins to the Federal Reserve, and then the next time they send a loan out, it could be all done in crypto. You know, it would be pretty interesting. Now, the only thing we would run into with that is money creation. That the Federal Reserve does, I mean, have this ability to, you know, effectively create money from nothing. I mean, they they give the loan out, but you know, that's where the money starts. That's where it comes from there, or the paper money at least. Um, and so they can increase the money supply in that way, and that's not really something you can do. I mean, crypto is a lot more like gold. Like there's a definite amount of it, and you can mine for more of it, but there is a cap on how much there is. Um, so, oh my God, what I would say to that is that there would be, I believe, less inflation because of this, because of there being this definite amount, and there would not be a need to increase the money supply. Now, I know there's many reasons you increase the money supply, not just inflate. Well, not just well, inflation is the reason you wouldn't do it. So what I'm saying is, well, I guess I'm not really sure exactly why the money supply is increased or decreased, and if crypto would help with that, because it would make it harder to increase it. So I'm not sure. I just feel like that's the way things are going. Um, we're a couple days away from the Bitcoin Gold fork. I'm sure most people watching this video, it will have already happened. So that was interesting, I guess. um, yeah. Um, the second thing on my list is, you know, um, I had a friend that she said she thought it was funny how I thought that everyone should go live in the woods, but that I don't do it myself. And I didn't know what to say at the time, but I thought that was a really stupid thing to say. Um, because obviously it's like, what difference would it make if I live in the woods? I'm saying everyone should do it. If I do it, it's not going to change anything. It's not the best way to influence people is to just do that. Now, in a lot of ways, it is. I mean, in a lot of ways, sort of leading by example is what you want to do. But I mean, I was more saying as a hypothetical, I don't know how possible it is to make that type of change, because the challenge is that, I mean, what an amazing, oh my God, could you, oh my God. What's going on in my head now is I'm just imagining that we just say no to all of it. And that means saying no to 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 everything that's happened over the past 10,000 years. You know, that's putting like ancient, Eastern religions on the same par with like, crony capitalism. It's like saying all of it is bunk. Like we're not doing, CFCs, and we're also not doing like the wheel. You know what I'm saying? Like, to just abandon all of it, and then what you get is you get your family, you get your house, you get your money, you get everything that you're dreaming of here, except in the woods you have it in an unlimited supply for the rest of your life, and you know that your kids have it too. I mean, could you ask for a better deal? I mean, could you ask for a better deal? And I don't see how there's so many animal lovers out there, and they don't make that connection. Like, look at what all the animals do. Look at what they all do. And you empathize with them, and you say there's people there, they say they connect more with a dog than a human. Well then, what are you doing living like how we live? And I won't even say it's like a human, because it's not even true. I mean, we've been all around for millions of years, and this is a pretty brief chapter, that we're doing this shit. So, I mean, how amazing would that be? I mean, to just abandon it all. Fuck yeah. People are worried about eating a poison berry. Come on. Do you know how many times that's happened? Do you know how many times in history a poison berry has happened? Do you know how fucking dangerous the way that we live is? You know how fucking scary it is to live in a building? You know what I mean? You have a lot more chances of dying from a fucking building than a berry. Come on. To live walking on pavement and cement and shit. I mean, we're crazy. You know? The shit we eat, the shit we do. Driving? I mean, smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, like the list goes on. You don't have to worry about a fucking berry. Get your life together. Or fucking, murder from, I mean, like, ugh. You're just not weighing the full equation here. Like, yeah, you're gonna have like war between tribes. I'm not saying that there's a solution for people killing each other. I'm just saying like it's going to be less than what it is right now, you know? And it might be slightly different, like it might be different people that get killed, you know? It might have less to do with whatever it has to do with now, you know, but you know, you might be more at risk just by existing than now when you can choose to fight in the army or something, or be on the police force, or do some job where, you know, or be in a gang or whatever it is, you know, be in a line of work where you're more likely to get into trouble. It might not be like that. But I think the fear that you'll have living day to day is going to be significantly decreased. Significantly decreased. Because the only thing you have to think about, really, is just the world. I mean, like the physical world, like the physical trees and bushes and animals. Okay? And that is a to us, you know, it sounds like chaos. It sounds like random. Um, when truly it's just it is the most learned thing people have ever learned, you know? Like, of what human beings have learned over the course of human beings existing, it's been that. It's been how to hunt and eat berries, and it's been what we've done to survive for millions of years. It is a far more tested and proven system of a way of life than any secure job, you know? I mean, there isn't one thing, because we haven't been around that long in this way, you know? Like the arrogance. I mean, it's not arrogance. It's just people don't think this through, you know? Like it clearly works, you know? It clearly works. And it maybe doesn't clearly produce more happiness, but to that, with minimal research, you can find, you know, these anthropologists will tell you these people are more happy. If you look at it by standards of what makes you happy, you could say, well, let me think about having um, basically just like the actual experience of taking care of myself, like actually being independent, um, actually like having lots of free time, um, having total security. I mean, you know, eating, you know, food that is, you know, far more different kinds of food than what we have here, far more varieties, and just having a hand in everything that you do. I mean, have like you're never working for anyone else, you know. And if you are, it's your kids, or it's your parents, or it's, you know, someone very close to you in the community. And no one's doing shit for you either, unless it's that kind of situation. And I mean, you know, I understand that nature isn't everyone's thing, you know, but I think that most people can see some value in it. And I think that the people to whom nature isn't so much their thing, it's these are people that kind of have, they have their home in this, you know, in buildings and in cities and all that, and it it's their home, and if their home were in nature, I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with it being your place. And now people aren't going to think about it that way. They're going to say, no, I like it because it's this, I like it because it's that. But I think that truly what's going on is it's a feeling of kind of security and familiarity, and ownership and kind of that, like, it being your zone, you know. I don't think that's going to really convince anybody. Like, how can my zone be in dirty trees and shit, But I believe it can happen. I mean, I believe with time, and with community. I mean, that's the big one. You can't really just leave on your own. I mean, because it's such a, like, I don't know. I just remember what that person said. It's like, I leave and go live in the woods on my own. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It is just so different from what I mean, which is that we all, I mean, all, if we all did that, oh my God. Um, and how we would share that, how we would re-enter a place where, I mean, tons of people are already here in what I'm about to say, but that you would have validation in your life enough so that you didn't feel the need to share your experiences like with strangers. Um, Now the problem with that sort of is that you kind of do have to communicate with people if they're also going to come do this. So how we kind of bring all of ourselves together to stop, you know, to just stop. If we kind of all collectively were just like, let's not. This is why I can't get on board with anything other than this. This is why I feel so little about everything. Like, I mean, the violence shit, that does get to me. Like, but it's because being anti-violence is a part of this. It's a part of that. But to make but to make changes so that other people like will do better in this way, it's like, I get it, that I get that, and I should care more, I guess. I should I should care more about like fixing, about improving the system that we do have, because that's what's practical. But like, you know I don't know. I have no idea how much longer, how much more steam this has, but I don't think it has millions of years on it. I mean, and I'll never know that. But logically, this sort of like rapid shift in what's happening, and by rapid I mean like the past 10,000 years. Um, I have no reason to believe that it would last for millions of years. I have no reason to believe that. I mean, I think that people don't see that this is a short period of time, you know? Like this is like a very short period of time, and that isn't to say that everything is a short period of time. I'm saying relative to the amount of time that humans have existed, this is a short period of time. Agriculture and everything after that is a short period of time. And there's nothing to say that farming has anything to do with what a good way to live is. I mean, there's just like, you know, all of the reasons we have for why we have money, why we have jobs, why we have farms, why we have education, you know, why we have government. It's all to fix problems that these things create. They're all there to just balance out the kind of issues that come from each one of them. You know, it's like say, oh, you need to have GMO food because we need food because there's. It's like, yes, in the context of this, but I'm just like, at what point? I don't know. I'm saying that it's just stirring the shit around. You know, it's not actually doing anything. It's making, you know, minimal changes for some people, but like there's so much suffering for people, and there's so much poverty and hunger that people don't like. Ah, it just seems like that's always unaccounted for. Like the fact that that there hasn't been a single invention that has actually helped all people. I feel I don't like that makes me really not feel excited about technology. You know what I mean? Like, because I have no reason to believe that science will ever do something for the entirety of humanity. You know, in the way that like nature, you know, nature provides for every single person. You know, the 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 ground will grow food for everyone. You know, and they're animals to be eaten by everyone. You know, I mean, medicine and like other things that people create are just for some people. So it's like it's propped up as this great thing, you know, for humanity, but it's not. I mean, you know, I mean, it's like I get the hustle. I get the hustle. I get the the kind of like feelings of guilt that people have and confusion and how they kind of deal with those and the need to be socially validated and the need to feel a sense of purpose and meaning, all of this shit, you know? But I think it's totally unnatural that we're kind of struggling with any of this. I mean, it's a totally foreign concept to the human mind to feel a sense of there even being suffering across the world. And then what do you do about it, you know? Because that was not the case before any of this shit started. You know, I mean, people are not wired to feel like things are ruined, because before, things were not ruined. You know, I mean, this is like a new situation that we're used to just, going out, gathering some food, killing some animals, cooking them up, eating them, and not feeling guilty about it, and there being no reason to feel guilty about it. I mean, that's like, it just seems like it makes so much sense to me that you would just do this, and you wouldn't be thinking about, how do I make things better, how do I be this type of person, how do I have this type of identity. That doesn't mean anything. I get how it means something here, but it doesn't actually, you know, that isn't supposed to be a part of the story, Like, none of this is supposed to be a thing. And it's not something that we even chose, Like, it's not something, it's just a consequence of there being some farms, and then it's so like blatant that, like, if you're born a slave master, you're going to be a slave master. If you're born a slave, you're going to be a slave. Like, it's like, you're not going to come from that environment and then go back to being a hunter gatherer, just like it's the same thing now. Once your kids are brought up and aren't taught, like, how to find the food in the forest, once they're brought up somewhere else, they're not going to do that anymore. But it has nothing to do with our capacity to do that. It has nothing to do with whether that would be better for us or not. It's just not something, it's like, yeah, we're born to live where we're born, but we're also born to be born in the woods. And when we aren't born there, it fucks everything up. That's how I feel. I mean, and I'm not going to say this is a personal opinion. This is an objective truth. Like, if you accept that humans have lived for millions of years, I understand there are people that will disagree with that. But if you accept that, then you have to accept that that's a functional system, that is, I, I mean, yeah, I mean that it's better than this. I don't really know. Like, I couldn't see an argument to say that this is better. Yeah, this is technology and development and improvement and etc. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm not a fucking. I'm not trying to deconstruct society and point out the flaws of it. I'm just saying things like, when you fall on cement, you can die. When you fall on dirt, you probably won't die. You know, when you need to have money to go to a grocery store, you can starve. When you have food around you, you don't starve. Okay? And when you know that there's a possibility of starving, it makes you nervous. It makes you afraid. It makes you do things you maybe sometimes wouldn't do, like, you know, kill people, like, or do something that causes harm to other people or the environment, because this is the way that you make money. But that would never happen if you're in the woods, because you don't need to make any money. You have what the money buys there already, you know? So it's just, I mean, and for all this identity stuff too, it's like you're not going to have any sort of structures of whatever you want to call it, patriarchy, racism, you know, anything like that. I mean, that's just so irrelevant to having your food be what your job is you and food, you know. It's the most direct thing. There's no uh there's no system to be disadvantaged in. It's however well you can go into the forest and get some food for yourself, you know. This is something that human beings know how to do. You know, it's something that physical creatures know how to do. Like animals know how to find food and eat it. Like that's just a quality that animals have, you know. And and what's really scary, I mean what's really kind of crazy to think about is the fear that we feel about going and living in the woods. This is the fear that we should be feeling about this life, because it's a fear of changing the system, which is a rational fear to have coming from living in the woods. It's like if you were to go back 10,000 years before agriculture and say, "Hey, give up give up your life, go do this other thing." You'd say, "No, that's crazy. I'm going to die." And you'd be possibly correct, you know? Cuz leaving that, you know, we're wired to trust what's in front of us because we had something good in front of us. But right now we don't. I mean, most of us don't. And even the ones that do, there's still tons of problems with it. You know? There's still tons of situations where things can go wrong. And almost all of that is eliminated when you simply are eating the forest and enjoying the forest. And that's what the world is. I mean, the world is a fucking forest before you put all this shit there. I mean, this is not like something different. It's not supposed to be different. You know, it's not supposed to be outdoorsy or woodsy or naturey. It's not supposed to be all of these concepts we have. That's just supposed to be what the world is in general. I mean, there are literally trees that would be fighting to grow out of the ground. You know, I mean, you see grass come out through fucking sidewalk blocks. I mean, this is just like such a thing that is screaming to be there. I mean, this way is like trying to still exist, you know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. Um, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I feel pretty passionately about it. um, oh, that was my other idea for the Federal Reserve, is that everyone who works there could go live in the woods. Um, okay, so those are my first two reasons. I'll continue this series in the future. Love you. Bye.